Hello, today I'm gonna review the first season because there's a second in progress, but it hasn't come out yet, of course. The first season of The Maniac Castle. For those of you who don't know, The Maniac Castle is a 1962 novel and it was written one of the most prolific authors in the sci-fi world, Philip K. Dick. Sorry, I've been mistaken. It's more or less 1965. However, the show is based off this book where the Axis power won the war because Franklin Delano Roosevelt was shot dead by Zingara, the Italian American anarchist, and the Axis power divided America and more or less the rest of the world. The show is a bit different from the series because if you see the finale you will understand why. There's a lot of characters that every one of them is interesting, especially I think it's Oberführer Smith, which is a member of the American SS. Yes, because America is divided in three zones: the Pacific States or the Japanese Pacific States, as is in the show, and the Greater Reich of that compromises most of the former United States, and the neutral zone. In reality, in the book, there are the Pacific States or PSA, Pacific States of America, the United States, which is controlled, of course, by Nazi Germany, and the Mountain States, which is a buffer zone between the two powers. The show does a great job at creating atmosphere. The special effects are absolutely gorgeous, I have to say. The story revolves around these films, which apparently show an alternative version of that world where actually the Allies won, and both the Japs and the crowds are doing everything they can to stop the flow of these films, called the subversive films. We see a lot of good messages in the film. In the Japanese states, you cannot hold a gun because it's against the law unless you work for the Japs or you are Jap, of course. It's more or less a quote to say, if you're not, if you don't own a gun, you are a slave, and I completely agree with that. Then we see the Greater Reich side where people, of course, whites, are well, they got comfortable with the Nazi regime. They get used to it, and what happened to Germany and Japan and Italy after war. After war, it mirrors our reality in a different way, because what would have happened if the Axis won? It would have happened this: people will get used to the victorious side, influencing them and probably exterminating them if you were a Jew. The most interesting character in the series, I have to say, is Smith. The others are from the book, which are Juliana Frink and his husband. I don't remember the name now, sorry. Then there's Childan, this pro-Nazi collector, historical collector, yes, historical collector in the Pacific States, and the other there's Itomi. No, it's not a Tagomi. Another interesting character, the trade minister. They have interesting backstories, even if you don't see much. General Smith is probably the one who you see the most of its backstory. Is a son who is which I- who is soon to be crippled, and he had to decide if he wants to euthanize him or not, because the doctor says if you don't do it, somebody else will. And at a certain point, he becomes an important character, especially in the finale, because apparently he's a favorite of Hitler. There's another character which is Rudolph, which is a Nazi agent who regrets the things he has done in the war, especially camps. And well, the cast is a cast of good actors. Some are first timers, if I'm not mistaken, but they do their job very well. For the story, it deviates a bit of the book because in the book the Japs refuse to give the Jews to the Nazis. In the series, in the first season of the Menai Castle, they alienate, they put in the same level the racial laws of the Reich with the Japan, but just because there's a cold war between them. And well, one of the scenes I liked the most was when Frank Frink, that's the name of the husband, I remembered, uh, is not is accused because they think the Japs think he holds the films which contain the subversive material, which is called the Grasshopper Lies Heavy, and he discovers that his sister and her son, her, her, her son and daughter are killed by because they're gassed by Japs because he doesn't confess his crime. And he said in the scene where he met with this inspector that killed the, her sister and her son and her sister, her daughter, he says, "I am free to go now." Which that's in that scene they show their relation between occupied people and occupiers. That's one of the most beautiful scenes in the entire series. And I remember there was a trailer where Frank Fink at the end of this trailer he said, "I am free," which freedom is an important theme in this season. Freedom, which is controlled and it's selected for a set of people. The Curtain Reich there is for the Americans, and in the Japanese, in the Pacific states, they are for the mostly for the Japs. The Japs in this Cold War in the show and in the book, they are the Americans, so to say, and the Nazis are the Soviets. Because no matter who would have won in the war, but we will have end up with probably a Cold War, no matter what. That's the sad thing about the reality of the show and the reality that we now live today and my fathers have lived. Sorry, my parents. I advise you to watch the show, everybody. It's worth it, really, guys. It's really worth it. There's not a single cliche that I can count on. Not I don't see any flaws in this first season. I hope to see the second season coming to TV or no to Amazon so I can buy it and watch it. And if you like this video and my review, thumbs up or thumbs down if you didn't like it, comment if you want, and I see you next time.